I'm just proud of us. You know, there's no weirdness, no tension.
No awareness.
When virtue signaling goes wrong, what a great day. I mean, I know that there isn't a lot going on today on this Thursday, but I'm down in my basement grinding to keep you entertained. And I have found a absolutely delicious, delectable, delightful bit of hilarity, virtue signaling, instant regret for David Schwimmer. Now, you might not know who David Schwimmer is. I suppose most of you probably will, because he played Ross on Friends. And then, like nothing else, anybody can remember. But in an interview with The Guardian, he proposes a all-black or all-Asian reboot of Friends.
Why are you the way that you are?
Even though basically everyone knows that Friends was basically a ripoff of Living Single, and Living Single was a ripoff of another. Every major TV show ever has basically been a ripoff of something else. But nonetheless, we're here to bask in the glory of the backlash, because Schwimmer probably thought that he was going to get rewarded for this take. In fact, the headline in The Guardian says, and I quote, David Schwimmer, I'm very aware of my white privilege and heterosexual as a heterosexual white male. What? You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Especially if we're talking about Hollywood. But nonetheless, the article reads, Schwimmer has finished a late lunch of salmon and Brussels sprouts and is sipping a beer in an Italian restaurant in New York's Lower East Side. When a stranger approaches, friends are like family, so you always look familiar. The man says, it's a good thing, I guess. You're happy when they recognize you. Schwimmer proves sporting. Yes, of course, he smiles. Thank you so much. He must get this a lot. Like William Shatner with Captain Kirk or Sarah Jessica Parker with Carrie Bradshaw, Schwimmer is synonymous with a single character, Ross Geller in Friends, the American sitcom about 6 flailing 20-somethings that aired between 1994 and 2004. Schwimmer would love to take part in a one-off chat show reunion with his fellow actors, but is opposed to the idea of reviving the characters. I just don't think it's possible, given everyone's different career trajectories. I think everyone feels the same. Why mess with what felt like the right way to end the series? I don't want to do anything for the money. It would have to make sense creatively. Nothing I've heard so far makes sense. Friends has also had a remarkable afterlife. More than a decade after its final episode, the show became available on Netflix in 2015 and was one of its biggest draws. But Friends' renaissance came with a sting. Awkward questions suggest it hasn't aged well. Millennials watching Friends on Netflix, shocked by storylines, ran a headline in The Independent 2 years ago noting criticisms of homophobia, transphobia. It cited, for example, Chandler worrying about being perceived as a gay man, Ross asking a male nanny if he's gay, and jokes about Monica's weight. Oh my God! Millennials. I'm technically a millennial.
Broad City is genius. No. Broad City is everything.
There it is, grossly exaggerating the quality of a just okay TV show. You're officially a millennial.
Okay, but the reason Friends was so popular is not because so many people had nothing better to do. It's because the show had something kind of for everyone. I watched Friends with my now wife, back then I think girlfriend maybe. Yeah, around then. And the show just had a little something for everyone, which is why it was such a big hit. I don't think that it's phobic to make jokes about everybody. I mean, Friends made jokes about everybody and everything. Are they straight phobic because they made fun of Joey? Or did they slut shame Joey because he slept with so many women? I bet you that article probably exists.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
No! God, please, no! No!
Anyway, the only moment of the interview where Schwimmer appears to be a little defensive. I don't care, he said dismissively. The truth is also that the show was groundbreaking in its time. For the way in which it handles so casually sex, protected sex, gay marriage, and relationships. The pilot of the show was my character's wife left him for a woman, and there's a gay wedding of my ex-wife and her wife that I attended. Good for you, David Schwimmer. I appreciate that. Quote, I feel that a lot of the problem today is so many areas, so little is taken in context. You have to look at it from the point of view of which a show was trying to do at the time. I'm the first person to say that maybe something was inappropriate or insensitive, but I feel like my barometer was pretty good at the time. I was already really attuned to social issues and issues of equality. Wow, congratulations, David Schwimmer. Friends is also a product of pre-woke era. They're literally calling it pre-woke. A part of the era pre-woke when it comes to race. Quote, maybe there should be an all-black Friends or an all-Asian Friends, Schwimmer says. But I was well aware of the lack of diversity and campaigned for years to have Ross date a woman of color. One of the first girlfriends I had on the show was an Asian American, and later I dated an African American. Well, I mean, come on. Yeah, David Schwimmer. You made near the end, as far as I can tell, $1 million an episode or something like that. You guys were all printing money, all right? You picking what hot black chick you wanted to date on the show isn't exactly super woke. It was interesting also to the way the show handled Judaism and the characters. I don't think it was earth-shattering or groundbreaking, but I, for one, was glad that we had at least one episode where it wasn't all about Christmas, it was about Hanukkah. And even though I played the Hanukkah armadillo, Ross wore an armadillo costume, I was glad that we at least acknowledged the difference in religious observation. I'm sure that's what you were really worried about with your show. But nonetheless, now, after suggesting that, the backlash online has been hilarious, forcing Schwimmer to do what the left does, apologize. That's right. It took about 8 seconds for an actor from the Living Single show to call out David Schwimmer and say that, you know, you didn't invent it, you stole it from us, blah, 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 blah. Erica Alexander says, hey, Schwimmer, are you seriously telling me you never heard of Living Single? We invented the template. You're welcome, bro. David Schwimmer to The Guardian. Maybe there should be an all-black Friends or an all-Asian. This is what virtue signaling gets you. This is when it gets wrong. Of course, then Schwimmer has to apologize, saying, hi, Erica. As you know, I was recently in an interview with The Guardian how I felt for the 1000th time about a reboot of Friends immediately following the conversation about diversity on the show. So I offered up another possibility for reimagining of the show today. I didn't mean to imply Living Single hadn't existed or indeed hadn't come before Friends, which I knew it had. By the way, Schwimmer did nothing wrong in this interview, but it's because he virtue signaled that it came back and bit him in the butt. I didn't mean to apply it. Okay. Please remember, in an interview, quotes are often pieced together and taken out of context. And these quotes are repurposed in other articles for other people who are trying to be provocative. I was a fan of Living Single, and I was not implying Friends was the first of any kind, which he didn't, by the way. To my knowledge, Friends, which came out a year later, was inspired by Marta and David's own lives and circle of friends living in New York in their 20s. If it was based on Living Single, you'd have to ask them. It was entirely possible that Warner Brothers and NBC, encouraged by the success of Living Single, gave Friends pilot a green light. I honestly don't know. Seems likely. But that's the case. We're all indebted to Living Single for paving the way. In any event, if my quote was taken out of context, it's hardly in my control. I assure you, I meant no disrespect. You know, I do like that he's kind of standing up for himself a little bit. Like, he is kind of saying, like, easy player, that's not what I said. But also, hilariously, this is just another perfect example of having to go on an apologia tour now after a little bit of fake virtue signaling. And the articles keep continuing. This morning, The Sun, Friends David Schwimmer defends call for all-black reboot after sparking sitcom race row. What? Nobody cares. I mean, look, Living Single was its own show, which, by the way, I enjoyed. So was Friends. I enjoyed that. Nobody really thinks TV shows don't rip each other off, but these people are all just looking for clout. This Erica person was just looking for attention because at no point in the interview did David Schwimmer say that they invented the concept. At no point in the interview did he not say that living single wasn't an inspiration or wasn't a thing, but somebody needs to prove that they're further left and the victimhood stack. And that's what happened. So it blew up in Schwimmer's face. The lesson is no more virtue signaling, Mr. Schwimmer.
I'm fine.
Really?
Absolutely. I'm fine. Totally fine. I don't know why it's coming out all loud and squeaky, because really, I'm fine.
Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.